All right, y'all. We're back. Hopefully my internet's done throwing a fucking fit. Guys, I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm so frustrated with my internet. I'm gonna buy a whole mesh network and a whole I don't even know. Should I just buy a 5G router or 5G modem from T-Mobile or something? This is what it looks like when it's good, and it was point 0.1 earlier. Point 0.1. That looks nice. That looks new. This looks like ass. What speeds do I pay for? I live in a house with a bunch of people, and I don't pay for the internet. It just comes with the house. So I can't do much. Eight oh two 11AX. I can install the inside of some housing outside. Go like this. Let me run a cable, bro. Come on over, Jeremy. Come on over. You think the white one's newer from T-Mobile? Gross. Oh, that's true. Like you can just buy a third party, right? Like you can buy a third party 5G router and just throw a SIM card in it. AX is newer than AC, right, Jeremy? That looks nice too. 802.11b, G, or N? Yeah, we're doing debates, guys. We're doing debates. Chat, if you want to debate, hop in the box. Come tell me why you like Trump. But right now, we're looking at routers. Let me do this. No. All right. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Chat, tap the screen. Let's get to like 200, or I mean 2K. The pretty one is 2.8 rating. That would be an instant pass for me. Yeah. What's up, Kafif? What happened, dude? My internet is buttholes, man. It's buttholes. Dual SIM 5G cellular router, Qualcomm. So yeah, I can just get a third party one and throw a SIM in it. Sergio, you were paid to kick. You can't come back. You're incapable of having a conversation. You can come back tomorrow if you want to get schooled then. You don't have low signal on the computer. I do kind of have low signal at the computer. It's like off and on. So I could buy a mesh network that could possibly help it, but I'm also seeing, even without the signal going low, I see outages all the time. Like once, twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week, I get an outage. Sergio, I want to know how emasculated or infantilized Sergio's dad made him his whole life to make him want to do this to people. I want to know. What's the source of the outages? I have no idea. I have no idea. Texas sucks donkeys. Yeah, dude. Sergio's still here like the good boy he is. There we go. Regular outages from the ISP doesn't sound right. Like, it could be a finicky connection at the curb. It could be that. Someone on YouTube said Andrew Tate for the win. Disgusting, dude. What? Ew, dude. Imagine being that clueless. Yellow.
Hola.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you over 18?
maybe, potentially.
It's your birthday.
2009.
That makes you 16, bud.
No, I'm not.
Someone said, I think this is just a loop video for views. No, I go live on this every day, guys. We go live every day almost. At least he didn't lie, right? This channel will ban you from telling the truth. Guys, as long as you don't spam in all caps and as long as you don't, I believe we have a bot that does all the moderating on there. So cry all you want. Plus, we're still tweaking it. If it's overactive, comment on one of my videos and tell me your complaints about my my bot. We're slowly tweaking it. This is like our 4th or 5th day of seeing actual traffic on my live streams on YouTube. So give us a bit for us to figure out the settings. Nice live, man. Great debates you got going on. Surge. Old Surge. Old Surge. Chat, if you're a Trump supporter, you want to debate, hop in the box. Come tell me why you like Trump. Surge, I live rent-free in Sergio's head. Keep chatting, Surge. Add to the algorithm for me. Give me some more of that engagement, baby. Give me that engagement. Give me that engagement. What a good boy. You do this for money, 8 hours a day. Yeah, welcome to 2025, where people work on the internet. People work online. Yellow? Have I received any of those healthcare payments yet?
Argent.
No, I haven't. What's up, Argent?
Okay. Oh, wait, I may still hearing you. No, I just wanted to say that's no caps, no spelling emojis, no saying slurs, and no name calling from either side.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just got a long-winded comment from, I think it's on my last, or 2 videos ago. Somebody they copy-pasted all of their stuff that got them, I guess,
Okay.
like temp banned. If you want to look at it, I don't know.
I will
It doesn't
double
seem
check
too crazy.
I will fully. Yeah. I'll double check.
Okay.
I just am self finessing. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Sergeant. You're the best.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
Bye. Am I going to attend the Trump military parade? Guys, Trump's going to do a show of force parade like North Korea does. How sad. Can't wait. Oh, God. On his birthday. On his birthday. Yeah, for real, guys. Trish, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. What else we got in the news today? What else we got in the news? Trump will get his showy military parade in D.C. Washington City paper. Never heard of that. Let's find a better source, guys. Politico? White House denies military parade is scheduled for Trump's birthday? That was yesterday. It's denying reports that it plans to hold a military parade in Washington on President Trump's birthday in June. The local officials have been in contact with the administration about a celebration. Washington Mayor Muriel Bowser and Takis Karantanis, the chair of Virginia's Arlington County Board, on Monday confirmed discussions with the administration officials about plans for a military parade this summer. A local newspaper, Washington City Paper, reported that the parade would be held on June 14th, which happens to be the birthday of both the U.S. Army and Trump. So gross, dude. So gross. Who's texting me? Come get me. Awesome. Did you hear they expect tanks to tear up the streets? No military parade has been scheduled. That's not saying anything. The White House said in an email response to the questions from the Politico. Both Bowser and Karantanis said the parade plans appeared to be in the preliminary stages. So, I don't know. It sounds like a coin flip. It sounds like they're just saying, like, it technically hasn't been officially planned 100% yet, but it sounds like it's in the works. The mayor told reporters the administration officials had contacted Washington's Special Events Task Force, while Karantanis said in a statement that Secret Service had reached out to the county to begin discussions of a security for the parade. I don't know. We're going to have to try to top it, he said later, but we had a lot of planes going over and a lot of military might, and it was a really beautiful thing to see. Weird, weird. Let's have a parade. Let's celebrate how we're not friends with anybody right now. Get dark mode for fuck's sake. Dude, I actually... There's gotta be extensions for this. For dark mode. Let me see what I can do. Let me do this. Chat, we're still looking for debates. If anybody can substantiate like a coherent reason to like Trump, you're welcome to try to come up and tell me. There's a universal dark mode extension. Let me see. Darkens the rest of the web. Turn off lights of Safari. Look at that. Night mode. Okay. Cool. Open the setting app, select app, choose Safari, select extensions, turn off the lights, Safari web browser. I don't need to do all that. Oh, gorgeous. Oh, that's gorgeous. Oh, bitch. Bitch. Look at that. Gorgeous. I miss Obama too, guys. Let's celebrate the day him and his followers get in politics and get voted out. Oh, man. What's up, Juggy? Safari by default provides dark mode. Well, I suck. I suck. I downloaded an extension, so we're good now. Siri and Sean probably don't miss it. Oh, my God. Yeah, well... I got a pretty Trump hat to send you. A new Handmaid's Tale episode is available on YouTube, chat. That is my girlfriend behind me, chat. No shit, Trump sucks, but he got the votes. How? Who knows, guys? I guess you can lie your way into office, and they still say that he earned the votes that he got. I wonder if I can do a dark mode for my Chrome browser too, real quick. Global dark mode, add to Chrome, add extension, bing bong boom. Look at that. All right, let's do this. Turn it on. It won't do it to some of these. Turn it on. Do I believe he'll do anything on 420? I don't want to catastrophize. I don't want to fearmonger, but yeah, it could get real bad on 420. Could be real bad. what's happening on 420. Apparently, there's like a timeline in which on April 20th, he would be allowed to invoke something that would, I believe it's martial law. The Insurrection Act. Today, Donald Trump's advisory committee is expected to release its finding on whether he should invoke the Insurrection Act, a move that would allow him to deploy the military domestically and allow Trump to impose martial law. Given Hegseth and Noam are the main advisors, the conclusion is foregone, and as his 2 months in office have already shown, he won't stop at just legal opinion. Expect an executive order even that same day or the next, officially declaring the Insurrection Act restricting freedoms in the name of restoring control on the border, perhaps the blue state cities, and setting larger plans in motion. But once it happens, there's no going back. This will be the point of no return. Yeah.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, what do you like about Trump?
The tariffs and then bringing manufacturing back to the United States.
Oh boy. Okay. So, what makes you think? First of all, none of this makes sense. Okay. If we bring manufacturing back to the United States, do you think that the world will buy our manufacturing?
Yeah. And also we could be self-reliant on our own manufacturing too. You could buy
Yeah,
Americans could buy American products.
well, we're at around 4% unemployment, so it's not like we need jobs. So, who's going to work all these jobs? And second of all, with the way that the US dollar is more valuable than most of the rest of the world's currency, there's no way that we can manufacture items that the rest of the world will be able to buy or want to buy over China, because China would make them much cheaper. So it would make absolutely no sense for us to just make all these manufacturing jobs here, for us to just sell a few things and not thrive. They would just kind of limp along.
First of all, we don't need the rest of the world. We could just buy and produce things ourselves. And I just think it's more valuable to have, a commercial shipping industry and a commercial car industry rather than just another 100 billion insurance company.
Yeah, but
Rather than
like
100
we don't.
insurance companies, it's more important to have commercial shipyards.
I get that, but again, we already have like 4% unemployment. I think 8 million open jobs right now. Like, we could open all the warehouses we want, but nobody would buy goods from them, and they wouldn't thrive. They would just get pushed out of the market.
How? That's why that's why you have tariffs.
Yeah, I know,
So
but
American companies can't compete.
the tariffs still won't. Like, now it's a little bit different now that we have 100% tariffs on China, which is fucking insane. But we're going to see even more companies just straight up go out of business because of these tariffs, more than the ones that will like arise from being able to manufacture and sell ourselves goods.
First of all, tariffs do work. If you saw Trump's 2018 steel tariff, about 25% on foreign steel, about $30 billion was invested in American steel after that tariff.
Yeah, I know, but we lost 147,000 jobs in the making.
It's worth it. You need to have industries like that. It's more important. Look how many shipyards. We only have 4 commercial shipyards in the U.S. Our economy is just completely financialized. Only about 15% of our economy is manufacturing and agriculture.
I just don't think that this like isolated or this whatever incestuous economy plan has worked anywhere or will work anywhere. Like, is North Korea thriving right now? It's the only country that I can think of that doesn't really trade with anybody.
I'm not saying completely not trading with anyone, but I think it's important to lower the national trade deficit because that causes.
What does that do?
What does the national trade deficit do? When millions of people buy foreign products, right? All that money goes to foreign workers and foreign companies. So the government has to cover that gap. So the government has to sell land. That's why China owns so much U.S. Treasury bonds, and that's why China owns so much U.S. land. Is because we have to give something. If
We don't have to
we're
give
buying
anything.
all foreign.
We send them money and they send us goods. We use the goods they send
No,
us.
we borrow money from China.
We're not
What do you
borrowing
think?
that much money from China.
One third of our debt is owed to foreign countries. You
But
know
that has
right?
nothing to do with the trade deficit.
That has to do with the trade deficit.
What does that have to do with the trade deficit?
We have to borrow money because more money is outflowing our economy than inflowing to our economy. So we have to borrow money to cover that national gap. Why do you think China? How much money do we have in Chinese bonds? We don't have that much in Chinese bonds because we have a trade deficit with China. So China buys more of our bonds than we buy of China's.
Okay, you're talking about something completely different than our trade deficit, though. Like when
That's because
our dollar is worth more than the Chinese dollar, and it makes no sense for any country to buy something from us because it would be way too expensive. So what you're talking about, the manufacturing that we would start here, people still wouldn't buy it. It would be still too expensive for companies or for countries abroad to buy things from us. They would still buy from China.
again, I'm talking about our own industry. Americans buying Americans.
Yeah, I know those companies wouldn't survive. They wouldn't they would sell domestic products and that's about it. And the companies that do much more business and are able to sell abroad will thrive, and those companies would push those smaller companies out.
No, that's not true. America had great manufacturing in the 50s and 60s. That's
Who
the
needs a
reason why
job?
we
What
became so powerful.
this
More
whole thing,
powerful.
like that we need to be self-reliant, is just a myth. I mean, maybe now that we have absolutely no friends on the world stage because Trump has pissed everyone off, maybe. But there was a reason for us to keep peace because we traded with each other. When we trade with China and they trade with us, and we have some of their bonds, etc., and they have some of ours, they had every reason to see us succeed. Now we're trying to do a dick measuring contest.
But you don't think it's critical to have products flowing into our economy rather than just completely financialized, rather than just completely selling our land to China or selling our stock to foreign
They
companies?
they own 384,000 acres of our land, which is literally nothing.
We owe one third of our debt is owed to foreign countries. You don't think that's a problem?
What's the
You don't
problem
think
there?
that's an issue? That one, I don't have to
They
explain why one
they
third.
Yeah, you would, because I just told you that they literally rely on our success. If they see our economy tank, they don't get that money back.
They can influence our interest rates. Absolutely, because they own so many treasury bonds. They can influence our dollar. They can influence our rates.
And
And
they have
trade
every
deficits
interest
aren't
to
good.
see that we succeed and not fail.
That doesn't mean that it's not a problem that one third of our debt is owed to
Can
foreign
you tell me
countries.
the actual problem besides having your feelings hurt?
Because the interest keeps rising. We keep owing these countries more and more. That is the problem. Trade deficits aren't good because we have to sell assets
There's no
and
real
land and
problem with a
stocks to
trade
foreigners.
deficit. And there's no way to fix it either. Unless you want the American dollar to tank, there's no way to fix the trade deficit.
Absolutely. What do you mean
How
there's
would
no
you
way to fix
fix
the
the
trade?
trade deficit, bro?
By producing stuff in the U.S. by tariffs and things?
Nobody wants to buy something that's made by at least $7 an hour minimum wage US dollar. Nobody can buy
But
that abroad.
there's ways to control the price. You can price gouge. You can lower income tax because tariffs bring in federal revenue, so you can lower
They
other taxes.
still wouldn't make it cheaper than buying it from other countries. Period.
Al-
Vietnam,
Also,
China.
also tariffs. A lot of the times, the importer takes most of the pain when it comes to tariffs, not the
Oh
consumer.
God.
In 2018, when Trump had that blanket tariff in China, how many what was the amount that prices increased on Chinese goods in 2018 when Trump had the Chinese trade war?
I know that houses went up by like 7%.
That was because of the trade war.
Yeah.
You don't-
What do you think
No,
houses are made of, bro? Lumber, steel.
Steel. No, but that's not because we have all the illegal immigration. That's why. That's why the housing
The
prices are
2%
going up. Not
increase, the 2% population of non-migrants who can't
10
even
10
buy
million
homes
10
is causing the
10
housing
million
market to go up?
people. Yeah, immigration is not causing the housing market to go up.
No.
Yes, absolutely, immigration is causing the housing
No,
market
it's not.
to
We
go up.
have
10
roughly
million.
we have roughly 13 million people here, and like up from like 10.9 or 11.9 when Trump was here. You think 1.5 million people out of 350 million
10
population is
million
causing the
people came
market to
on.
go up?
10 million people coming under Biden didn't
That's
affect
not the
the
number.
housing market.
That's
Search up how many people came under Biden.
I
10
already know
million
the
people came
number.
from under
It's
Biden.
right here.
What's the number?
This is from DHS.
How many illegal immigrants?
This is from
What's
DHS.
your
This is unauthorized immigrant population estimates by period of entry. And we have 11.5 million, and then all the way to 10.9, which it went down in 2022, but the housing markets went up. Explain that one away. And then like at
still
most we
10
have
million
13
extra
million
people
people here.
coming into the country.
No,
That's
you're
still
you're
10
not
million.
you're not doing the math right. 12 million people approached the border and crossed the border's line, but half of them were expelled immediately. And Biden expelled and deported more people month by month than Trump did.
Trump did. Then
Yes.
Trump deported. But Biden had way more people crossing the border. Which
Yeah, I know. So the total that we're looking at is still only 1.5 million more people than Trump had at his highest, and that does not affect the housing market to the tune of 7%. 2%?
Also, just because they requested asylum, someone said in the chat, just because they abuse our asylum. They're not asylum seekers. They're
Stop crying. Let's talk about the
economic
actual
refugees.
number. Stop. You're debating with me. The amount of people here makes up 2% of our population. Explain to me how people who can't even get a mortgage because they're not even legally here, how are they affecting the housing market? Go ahead and tell me.
A lot of them live in cities. A lot of them
And
in New York.
and
Well, they have to be housed by federal money.
no, they're
Like
not.
them. Yes, they are.
If you're here under asylum, yeah, maybe. But they get a work permit in 180 days, and you're still not going to be able to explain to me how the asylum seekers, who make up even less than 1% of the people, because we're talking about just asylum.
I said immigration
Okay,
in general.
every single indicator shows that the immigration is a positive effect, net positive on our economy, and they are not affecting the housing market more than 2%, which is what they make up in our population. Period.
So why do you think that this generation, average age of moving out the house is 27 years old? Why do you think that
Because
no
the
one in
wealth
Gen
gap
Z
is
owns
insane.
property?
Because Republicans exist.
Republicans are the reason why the wealth
Yes.
gap?
Do you know why the wealth gaps? You know where it started?
Under Reagan.
Yeah.
Yes, trickle down economics.
Yes.
But
And guess
modern-
who's
but the-
championing those things? Guess who did another huge tax break for the richest of the rich? Bush, and then Trump. And it widens the gap even more. Yes,
Okay,
and then
who-
Trump. Do you know what we did in reaction to the 2008 housing market crash? Do you know what
Yeah,
the
we-
Dodd-Frank Act is?
What did Obama do under the 2008?
The Dodd-Frank
financial
Act.
crisis? No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, well, he regulated the banking. It's where we don't do subprime lending as much. But Trump, his first action when he came into office, he did amendments to the Dodd-Frank Act and deregulated the housing market. And then he did another executive order deregulating the housing market. So he, a fucking real estate mogul, and his rich friends could go and buy up all the houses. And ever since Trump left office, the investors went from a 10% representation in the single family home market to 20%. That's who
So
is
Trump-
to blame for the housing market, not the 2%
Trump's the
migrants
reason
in
the
here.
housing market-
Yes.
So Trump's the reason why the
Yes.
housing market. Absolutely not. Trump believes in deregulation. Deregulation helps.
I just
building
told you
more
how
housing.
deregulating caused the housing market to explode with investors. And you're gonna blame migrants?
And I'm not saying just migrants. I'm saying immigration in general.
It doesn't make any sense.
What do you? Since 1990, we've allowed 50 million people into our country. That's not.
We have
housing.
13 million people here, period. We are in population decline, bro.
How many people have we let in since 1990?
I don't know, but we're in population decline.
50
Does it
million
matter?
People we've let in.
Okay, and we're in population decline.
So we just need endless immigration instead of just fixing the cultural problem. Instead of
What's
just
the
allowing
cultural problem?
liberalism. Liberalism is a cultural problem.
Okay,
Suicide rates are higher in the U.S. than it is in Yemen because liberalism believes in no God, no morality, and you just tell
it's
everyone
not
you're
true.
useless and they just work
I
the service job.
think atheists are
Absolutely.
more moral than Christians because Christians, in their book, they justify slavery and murder and child
Okay, why
death.
are suicide rates higher in the U.S. than they are in Yemen? Can you explain that to me? If we are such a
Um,
developed country and have such better living standards than Yemen, why is Yemen have lower suicide rates than us?
I don't know, but I just looked this up, and California actually has lower suicide rates than most of the Bible Belt. So,
Well, that's because the Bible Belt has opium and other issues. But that doesn't
okay,
mean that
okay.
Yemen has a general lower suicide rate than the U.S. because Yemen has moral beliefs and they don't tell you that you're useless. That's why Yemen is better.
Now, you guys
I mean,
think
not
that
Yemen is
you're gonna
better, but
go
that's
burn
why
in a
Yemen
lake
is.
of fire for fucking all of eternity if you do something wrong.
Well, I just think it's important to having a belief in God makes a better society and
Grow
has
up,
people.
dude. No one believes in those fairy tales anymore. We're in it's 2025. We have the internet. We have all of this science that disproves like the global flood and all that silly shit y'all believe in. It's not real, my man.
No, you don't believe in a God. You think it's all
No,
just
grow up, dude.
no. You're I'm sorry, but that's just not true. Of course, there's a God. What creates moral good? Oh,
I don't know why,
I
but
can't.
you got
Dude, you
flagged.
can't.
You got flagged. I don't know why. Thank you. Thank you, Christina, for the $10. Thank you so much. I love you. Christianity has been on the decline. This is their last grasp at trying to revive it. It's been on the decline every year. Grow up, guys. Cope. Yellow?
Yo,
What's up, bro?
just real quick, you were just mentioning Christianity on the decline. So why would you say that Islam is on the rise then?
I don't know. Is it on the rise here?
In the United States specifically, I would assume so, but I don't know. But worldwide, it certainly is.
I don't know.
Honestly, I'm not interested in arguing about that. I just thought it was an interesting thing to say. But I did actually want to go schizo on something real quick. Um, are you familiar with Barack Obama's first executive order?
What is it?
He made all of his personal records unavailable for the public to view. So his birth certificate, and all like a lot of other personal information. It's Executive Order 13489.
Okay.
And I don't know, this honestly isn't really important in modern day context, but there's literally like tons of interviews where Obama openly says, like prior to 2000, like in the 90s and stuff, where he literally says he's from Kenya.
His
Like, what
dad's
do you
from
make of
Kenya,
that?
I think, right?
Yeah, and yeah, his whole family is, but he says he
I think
quite
his
literally
mom's
is born.
Hawaiian.
No, maybe I don't know about that, but his family and himself. I don't really care about the rest of the people, but he himself, in like at least 3 different interviews, has publicly said prior to 2000 that he was born in Kenya.
What does this change?
Doesn't really change anything. I just think that it's something that no one knows, and I think literally it's just no one even thinks about that. Like, it was something that people used to like brush it, like people would brush you off if you said something like that, or they would say, oh no, it's because you're racist. But like, the dude literally said it. You can watch multiple videos of him saying it. Just literally search Barack Obama says he's from Kenya. There's a lot of it. And then his first executive order was, I mean, that's why I led with the executive order, because that's like a provable thing.
Oh, it was an altered video that suggests Obama admitted he was born in Africa. It's an altered video.
Which one of the videos was
AP
altered?
did a fact check on this. Claim former president AP's assessment false. The video was originally posted by a parody account on YouTube more than a decade ago. It had been altered to include the comments cited by the social media users. Democrat never said he was born in Kenya or that he was an American. The social media users are recirculating a long debunked video clip purporting that President Obama is saying he was actually born in Kenya. The clip opens with a snippet from a 2011 CNN interview in which the presidential hopeful Donald Trump questions Obama's citizenship. Bro, you guys got to give it up.
No, this wasn't. No, this is pre 2000 interview.
You guys got to give it up. Yeah, 2011. Oh, dog.
Yeah, and that
You're gonna get me
pre-2000.
fucking. You're gonna be banned for this shit, dude. I just got flagged.
All right, I'm sorry, but look up his first executive order. If you don't think that coincides with that, then I don't know what to say.
I don't know. Trump never released his tax returns when he said he was under audit. When it turns out, we all know why he didn't do it, because he lies about his net worth all the time.
Yeah, sure.
And then we
that's
had his
exactly why
accounting
Obama
firm
releases-
dump him like a dead dog on the side of a road because he fucking lies so hard about his accounting, and they couldn't put their name next to his anymore.
Sure. I mean, look, I'm not here to suck Trump's fucking little wiener. I don't know if that picture is real, by the way. Have you seen that picture though, of like allegedly Trump naked? It was pretty gross. But anyway, no one should see that.
Guy, I'm live on YouTube, but can we not say things like that?
Oh yeah, sorry. But if you're curious, there's a video or an image. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Obama's first executive order kind of sus, but anyway.
Okay.
You should look it up. Actually.
Did you know that
You
Trump
might
didn't
believe me.
allow
Just to-
any of his administration to be FBI background checked on the way into the office? Is that not kind of
No,
sus?
I didn't. That is pretty sus. Actually, it's pretty sus. He also, I'm pretty sure just yesterday, he banned government officials from having relationships with Chinese nationals. I mean, that one makes a little bit more logical sense, but still kind of sus.
Yeah.
And also, I typed this out because I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, you said that China. You said that because they have like all of these bonds in the U.S., you said that they're incentivized to see America succeed. And that makes sense in one way, but I think that they would benefit more if the United States failed. Like, they can take the money loss. Like, what really is important is they would be able to fill the power vacuum.
I guess, but they would lose their GDP. They would go into recession. A ton of their companies would go under because we'd stop buying goods from them at the same level. So their GDP would shrink. Those companies' revenues would shrink. They would fail instantly. They would downsize. They would have unemployment issues. They would have housing issues. Like, all of these things, like business as usual is much better than going after each other's throats.
But don't you think that would happen to every country if the U.S. failed?
A lot of them, yeah.
So, but wouldn't that give China a good opportunity to step in and fill the power vacuum? And
I mean, that's what Trump's already allowing them to do that. Like, us pulling out of USAID and pulling out of all of these other things on the world stage is allowing China to go in and fill those voids. If that's what you think is the truth, then Trump is the king of that.
I mean, I could agree. He might be doing that. But I just think from the last guy you're talking about, I think that I don't necessarily think he was entirely right, but I do think that China would benefit from the U.S. failing more than it succeeding, just in the case of, making money off bonds.
They make a lot more money off of us buying all of their shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing about the tariffs. Who's going to want to, like, I do agree in the short term, tariffs are definitely going to fuck everyone. Like, there's no doubt about that.
I think in every term it's going to. I don't even think this is an actual thing meant to benefit our economy at all. I don't think it's in any way, shape, or form going to bring jobs back or anything like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's completely incoherent. And you can just see Trump's brain working around this over the last 2 weeks. Like, so first, when the economy was tanking, it was Biden's fault. And then it was because that the stocks were overvalued. And then it's because Trump is playing 4D chess and he's going to reduce the rates and refinance our debt. And then he's saying, well, this is a good thing. It's just going to be short-term pain, long-term gain. Like none of this makes any sense. None of it's coherent. And what I did hear that makes total sense is that Trump wants every one of these countries to come to the negotiation table and kiss the ring and give him something, make a concession. So he sent over orders to like the EU recently and said, hey, you guys need to end all of your DEI programs. He sent things to France and to Germany and all these, and they're like, no. So what does Trump do? He puts a tariff up and he says, hey, if you want me to take it down, in DEI, do things to make liberalism die on the world stage, or do things to say that I'm a good leader, say these things publicly. And what he's also doing is doing the same things to all of the private businesses that want some sort of exception from the tariffs. So he did this during his first term where he struck deals with like oil companies that were required to like put ethanol in their gas. He said, well, I'll sell you waivers. And they made private deals with him to do waivers. Now Trump has a meme coin where these countries can just dump loads of money into a meme coin anonymously, and he will make like an insane amount of money that's untraceable.
That's okay. That I mean, I agree with you 99%, but the meme coin thing is pretty false. I mean, I'm someone who's very active in crypto. I do this literally every day. Like the Trump meme coin, sure, it is launched under his name, and sure, he does have the tokens, quote unquote. But 90% of the supply, which is the supply that the quote unquote Trump team owns, which is actually Barron running it, and probably Martin Shkreli, which is pretty bad, right? But the supply is locked, which means, and that's also why you saw the market cap go up to like multiple billions of dollars overnight, because when you have a token with 90% of the supply locked, but the liquidity is the same, you basically just multiply the market cap by 10 because the supply is essentially 90% reduced. So it's like it's all fake money.
Okay, I understand, but they can dump money into it, right?
Like buy it?
Yeah.
You definitely could.
Okay, so what's stopping him from openly being corrupt and accepting bribes from foreign nations?
Hello, sorry, my mom was calling me. Hopefully his honor would stop that, but you know, there is not anything technically stopping him.
Okay.
But I mean, but you could say that about anyone, right? Like, I mean, Joe Biden has a lot to go on about that. I mean, you know, he pardoned his entire family, which is not sus at all. But like,
because Trump is he's obviously abusing his authority as president, and he's used every arm of the government, the federal government, to get everyone to bend a knee. Private colleges, private law firms, everybody that speaks out against him. He's suing people that speak badly against him. What do you mean his honor? Give me a fucking break.
Well, I mean, I wasn't saying that he was honorable. I was just saying hopefully his honor would keep him from doing such a thing. But I mean, at the end of the day, you could say that about any president, right?
Hey man, do you got snacks?
I have carrots.
No,
that's a snack by definition. Oh, goodbye, bro.
Huh. Samantha, thank you for the $5. Obama's first executive order severely limited public access to presidential records after they left office. That's all it did.
But why would you do that?
I don't know. I mean, do you have an actual grievance with it, or?
Well, I'm just saying that if you assume that what came out of his mouth and some of those early interviews, you would make the connection that executive order is tied in with that.
Okay, but you see nothing wrong with Trump taking classified documents and putting them in his bathroom and then saying that he didn't have them, and then signing affidavits and having his lawyers swear that he
No,
doesn't
I
have
have
them, and then getting
I
his
have
door
his
kicked down and finding out that he does have them, and then having audio showing that he literally openly showed news, like random people, classified documents while calling them classified, while also admitting that he shouldn't have these and that these were classified and that he couldn't declassify them.
Yeah, I have as much of a problem with that as Joe Biden did taking classified documents, leaving them in his car. I mean,
Wait.
I'm not.
Withholding classified documents is a little bit different than like finding them because your office packed them up and threw them in a box.
Okay, sure. What I mean, sure, you can make whatever case. I understand it's nuanced, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the same. I mean, technically speaking, the same thing did happen.
No, like Trump was charged with withholding. If Biden knew he had classified documents and then was asked for them and he said no, and then had an affidavit signed saying he didn't have them, and then also was recovered with an audio tape saying that he had them, that's different.
Wait, was this the one where was this the case where the jury or the legal department basically claimed he would like didn't know what was happening, like he wasn't mentally
No,
sound?
that's a straw man. So what happened was Robert Hur, the special counsel, basically said Biden would be a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory in terms of like taking this to trial. So if you were to ask Biden in a trial setting, hey, what do you remember about these documents from 30 years ago? As an 80-year-old man, I'd be like, I don't remember.
Wait, so they're still so they were talking about those documents that were 30 years old, but they were in his car during his term? I don't understand.
They're in the garage in a banker box.
Okay, I knew he was in a garage, but I thought they were in his car in a garage.
Next to a Corvette.
So it's just an old box of documents he left in his garage for like 30 years?
Mhm.
I
When
mean,
you
I'll admit
when you
that's-
leave office,
better.
your shit's packed up by an administrative like a bunch of people. Your shit's just packed up and it's put in boxes. And same thing with Trump. He had every excuse to have some of that shit, right? And he could have just been like, yeah, come get it. I sure have it. Like, have it back. But Trump willfully held them, knew he had them, and we have recordings of him knowing he had them and still didn't give them back. And we have like Kid Rock, like literally bragging that Trump also showed him classified documents of like North Korea and shit.
Okay, I mean that's definitely worse, and I agree. I wouldn't stand up for that. But we kind of got lost in the weeds here, honestly. What was the main point of what we were talking about a second ago?
I don't know.
Shit. All right, well, I'm gonna hop off. Look at Obama's first executive order. A lot of people are freaking out on me, so do
Sounds
that
like a nothing
DD.
burger.
Maybe it is, but from what I saw, didn't quite seem like it. And also, look, you can say it's not real, but I mean, I've witnessed at least 3 different recordings of like pre-2000 Obama and a 2004 article from. Hold on, I have to tab out to look at this article. So the Sunday Standard, whatever that news article is from, in 2004. Hold on, let me tab out. In 2004 was reported in January 27th, 2004. Maybe you can find it. Sunday Standard, June 27, 2004. They had an article about Obama being from Kenya prior to him becoming president. So this is well prior to him running and well prior to like this being like a politicized issue. He was talking about him being from Kenya and like when he was in Kenya, he was talking about it in Kenya on a live TV interview. He was talking about it at what looked like to be probably a Harvard talk because he went to Harvard, so I assume that's where he was, but it looked like a university. I mean, it's just all sus.
I don't know. I can't even get that to come up. Sunday Standard 2004, June 27, Obama, Kenya. Didn't pull anything up.
Well, I'll have to try and I'll look deeper for that. It's going to be kind of a hard operation
Dude,
for me right now.
honestly, this is silly. Do you know when like we get a president that the FBI does like the deepest background check you could possibly do, and that some news reporter or you are not going to find some truth that the FBI or CIA didn't find. I think it's silly, bro.
I kind of agree, but also at the same time, it's extraordinarily difficult to prove citizenship in the United States, like for most people, because lots of people don't have like birth certificates like somehow available to them. Basically, like the only way to prove yourself to be a legitimate U.S. citizen is it with having a passport, and most people don't even have a passport.
We have a birth certificate.
There seems to be quite a few people I know personally, and people that have talked publicly about not having one or not.
Obama
like,
has a birth
no-
certificate.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that because apparently his birth certificate was sealed under his executive order. But, so I don't know. I'm just saying that it seems like proving citizenship in the United States is actually quite difficult if you don't have a passport.
I don't know. He has a birth certificate. They have record of him being born in a certain hospital. The FBI checked this out. I have full faith. If you even join the military, they do
I literally
what's
am.
like a $12,000 or $18,000 investigation into you.
Well, it does depend on the role, and it does depend on the level of security clearance. But like, if you're talking about an elected position for like United States, like they just push you through. It's not bullshit. Like they literally just push you through, and it's kind of the same with the military now.
Every single person on their way into the administration gets FBI background check. Besides Trump, the current administration, for the first time in like U.S. history, his administration is the only one that's not background checked.
Honestly, that's pretty sus. I will agree, but I mean, these security clearances are really only about, and I'm currently applied for a security clearance, so I understand how this goes. Like literally just a couple weeks ago, I applied for a security clearance. So like most of these people just push you through. Like it depends on the level of security clearance. There's different levels to them, but if you get the highest level of security clearance, the top secret one, where you have to go through the single scope background investigation, the SSBI, yeah, it costs like $100,000 to run it, and they're investigating you for like multiple months at a time. But they still usually just try and push you through, as long as they don't view you as a threat to national security in the sense where you might sell national secrets or X, Y, or Z. And that's why they don't like people having copious amounts of debt, because they don't want you to sell security secrets. That's why they are really suspect about people doing substances, certain substances, because at least for the military, it's the substances they care about because they don't want you to be selling them. And there's like a whole host of reasons. But they don't like. It's not really like that big of a deal.
Okay, I'm reading more into the background stuff, the background check stuff. But yeah, all right. If you got to go, appreciate you.
Yeah, peace out.
All right. So apparently, the Pentagon's Defense Counterintelligence and Security Agency carries out the bulk of background investigations for the federal government. The FBI carries out investigations for the presidential appointees that require Senate confirmation, as well as some of the presidential appointees, including the White House staff. Historically, administrations have relied on the FBI background check process to ensure personnel they are hiring meet stringent ethical standards and don't risk compromising national security. Background investigations for national security positions are conducted to gather information to determine whether you're reliable, trustworthy, or of good conduct and character and loyal to the U.S. But the background check process was halted just days before Patel was confirmed by the Senate on February 20th. The FBI is still conducting background check investigations for positions requiring Senate confirmation, said the sources. Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Sure.
Okay. What do you like about Trump?
I like that I like mostly his political rhetoric. Which there are things that I obviously have major issues with, but as far as his kind of political mandate as expressed through his rhetoric, I think that the kind of what he does signal to MAGA makes a lot of sense for where America is right now, both domestically and geopolitically.
So just like a bunch of lies, or
Well, in some instances, there's some hypocrisy for sure, but that's, I mean, you can also agree that that's part of the Democratic Party platform as well, and is baked into the two-party system in the U.S. But as far as Trump is concerned, his political rhetoric and what MAGA actually demands of him, which is a kind of lack of military adventurism abroad and to kind of reindustrialize America. I think those are the primary takeaways that is actually correct. It reflects something of a real movement of American politics, which is completely stagnant in the so-called left in America.
I think that's also not really happening. So like Trump is in fact creating feud like with places like Greenland, Mexico, Canada. He's talking very seriously about taking over Canada as the 51st state, and just recently he wouldn't his whole staff wouldn't disregard the idea of doing drone strikes in Mexico. And right now we're on the brink of one of the biggest trade wars we've ever seen globally with every single one of our people or one of our allies. So like we're about to go into debt just for Trump's dick measuring contest on the world stage. And it's not going to bring back any sort of manufacturing to the United States.
I agree with you on that. I would assume we disagree on the actual real material reasons for that. That was never something that was actually going to happen. But my argument simply is that the mandate of his political mandate was thrust upon him based on a kind of reindustrial effort by his base, which is colloquially understood as MAGA. They want reindustrialization of America. They are anti-neoliberal. They're kind of a neoliberal force within America itself. I fully support that.
I think neoliberal is just a catch-all word that means absolutely nothing.
How do you defend that?
I like I said, first of all, reindustrializing it's completely incoherent. So China is so far ahead of us that they have pretty much like fully automated like robots and stuff making things in factories and manufacturing. So when they say, "Oh, we need to bring back jobs here," what that looks like in 10 years is like almost entirely unmanned manufacturing centers making things. And what that means is they're rooting for less jobs, and they're rooting for whatever actions Trump is doing to further drive our economy into the shithole. So I don't think this is like the sentiment is completely backwards.
You'll find no argument for me about that simply, but I would actually kind of question that in 10 years earlier, I believe you would probably be one of the people that said that China could simply not compete with the United States, when in fact it's actually the complete opposite, as you're now admitting to at this point. But as far as Trump's ability or the United States' ability writ large, because again, this isn't simply a matter of Trump's responsibility, it is the entire state apparatus itself, controlled by primarily finance and monopoly capital. They cannot reindustrialize because asset price inflation, which they are required to do to pump the stock market up, has outpriced American workers. And because we're run by a cabal of monopoly and finance capitalists, they can't simply perform the same sort of sophisticated long-term planning China has. That has nothing to do with Trump. That actually has everything to do with the with the contradictions being exposed right now through something like Trump's trade war.
I think what we're doing is we're seeing a lot of people like you who might be somewhat smart find ways to rationalize his insanity on the world stage and find ways to see a positive in it for the sake of your own mental well-being.
Trump as a I understand Trump as basically the Ronald McDonald behind McDonald's. Trump is the figurehead, the clown at the head of the actual real political movement, which is MAGA. MAGA is separate from Trump in this way. I support MAGA because I understand MAGA as the actual American proletariat, the actual revolutionary subject within America that is actually bringing forth someone like Trump to expose the contradictions inherent in the global political economy.
So what you said with a bunch of big words is you're glad Trump is coming and burning everything down? He's an accelerationist.
Trump's single buffoonery and ineptitude is equal that of basically every major party in the United States, but it does have some sort of accelerationist ability to, in the form of these kind of ludicrous trade wars. Like, it is exposing something that was inevitable. The key point here is that China, like you mentioned before, its socialist market economy is outmoding the neoliberal American hegemonic Western capitalism as we understand it.
Okay, you keep saying neoliberal. Like, I urge you to just explain that to me without using a bunch of fancy words.
Okay, the West writ large. You understand what I mean by the West?
Yeah.
Okay, the West is ruled not under the political, the kind of mode of production. You know what I mean by mode of production?
Yeah.
Okay, so it is not the capitalist mode of production, so to speak, that Marx described in the 19th century. It is not even necessarily the imperialist manifestation of capitalism as Lenin described in the early 20th century. It has taken on new form. The new form that is taken on is an accelerated and concentrated finance oligarchy that knows no national boundaries and extracts its power through client-state relationships, mostly with its allies, through something called the Treasury Standard that happened after 1971 when we went off the gold standard. It's written by and studied by the actual U.S. State Department in Michael Hudson's work, Super Imperialism.
I think that I'm just gonna say it. I think that you hide behind a bunch of like vocabulary and you say absolutely nothing. I think you've said
Okay,
zero
challenge me.
things
You know what the
concerning.
Treasury Standard is?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. You just mentioned the gold standard, and I can debunk that's usefulness in like 3 seconds.
Okay, debunk it.
Okay, how much gold is there on Earth?
There is a finite amount of gold within the earth.
Did you know that if you, and it's worth about $3,020 today, right?
the
per ounce?
entirety of gold on
Yeah,
earth?
yeah,
No,
that
it's
per
not.
ounce.
Oh,
3,000.
the price of gold. Yes,
Yeah.
the price of gold is going
And
up.
if you multiply all of that gold, every ounce of it on Earth, by the amount that it's worth today, is it more or less than the United States GDP?
It's probably less because we operate under fiat currency.
Okay,
It's one of the
so
points.
we would literally go into the world's largest recession trying to adhere to the gold standard today.
I am
Point
not,
debunked.
so you simply misunderstand my point. I am not saying let's go back to the gold standard. I'm saying that history has progressed and there is no more commodity money, aka money backed by gold. In fact, it is money backed by fiat, by
I know,
decree.
and that is much more useful. The gold standard was dumb and too volatile, and it put us into huge recessions that we couldn't climb our way out of by printing money.
It's useful in that now we get to fund our budget deficits through trapping our allies into the treasury standard, which is something that you fail to understand.
I just told you something that you couldn't argue against, so you just say a bunch of big words. That's what you do.
I agreed with it. I'm simply educating you on the fact of why we.
Who's
did this.
educating who? You're not saying anything.
All right, what is the treasury standard then? If I'm,
Are you talking about fiat? The fiat.
no, the treasury standard?
I don't know.
Super
You tell me what the
imperialism.
treasury. You tell me what the treasury standard is. I don't know.
Great, sure. I'll tell you what the treasury standard is. America in the post 1971 era, in the post world
Just
era,
fucking
had a
say
bunch
it.
of-
Stop trying to sound like a
because this is
philosopher.
important background information.
You
What do
sound like
want
an
me to do?
idiot.
Explain it to you or not?
You sound like an idiot.
Okay. Do you want me to explain it to you or not?
Explain it, but stop sounding like a fucking
Okay.
idiot.
Our ally nations, through our budget deficit, mostly due to military spending, those ally nations are flooded with U.S. dollars. What is the purpose of an international central bank?
Can you
It is
explain
to
the
take-
treasury standard?
This is what the treasury standard is.
Okay, usually people just define things instead of tell stories.
Okay, the treasury standard is that America floods the world with U.S. dollars. The only way for the central banks of foreign nations to use those U.S. dollars is to buy treasuries, because we won't allow them to buy any of the actual material modes of production itself.
That doesn't sound like a
Therefore,
definition.
funding the budget deficit and giving the United States a free lunch. It's called super
That's
imperialism.
not a definition.
How is it not a definition? Explain it to me.
You just gave me an action of the Treasury, not the fucking definition of it.
It's called, that process is called the Treasury Standard. It's
That's
written
not a
by
standard.
Michael Hudson's Super Imperialism. It is described in detail.
Nice.
So when
Everyone
I'm
here
describing
having heard it is now
neoliberalism-
dumber than they were 5 minutes ago.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Can you challenge what I just said at all? In any
Yeah, you
meaningful
just
way?
gave me a term made up by what sounds like an author. Is that what you're saying?
By a political economist that was studied by the State
Got
Department
it.
itself.
Got it. Okay. So you just made so something that someone made up in a book. You're telling me that I'm dumb for not knowing it.
Well, it's not made up. It's actually what happens in material reality, but it helps to articulate
Material
what you
reality.
said.
You see how you just
said,
use
what is
extra words?
neoliberalism, right?
You
said, what is
see how just use
neoliberalism?
extra words. You sound very insecure when you talk.
You said, what is neoliberalism? I'm describing to you the pillar.
No,
One
I
of the
inquired
pillars
what the words
neoliberalism.
is that you use to articulate the words of material. Like, you sound so fucking dumb when you talk.
Okay, do you want me to explain neoliberalism in a shorter way that you
Yes.
can understand?
Yes.
Okay. Neoliberalism is capitalism at its current stage of development, which is a concentration between state and actual capital accumulation.
Capital accumulation.
Do you know what that is?
You still sound silly, man.
Okay, just because you don't understand something.
I
doesn't mean it's
understand
not
what you're
true.
saying. You're just overcomplicating the words. You're just using like bigger
You
words
asked
than you
me what
need to.
neoliberalism was,
You're
because
using
everyone
much
understands
larger
neoliberalism.
volumes of words that you are required and mandated to use in one structured sentence.
Okay, challenge me on any of the words that I've used that you don't think I understand.
I
please.
just mocked you. Do you not get what I'm saying?
I know you're mocking me, but it's coming from a place of ignorance as opposed to trying to understand me at a
You,
common sense
you're
level.
overcomplicating. You literally sound so insecure when you talk up here.
Because
Just
you
be
do not
real,
understand-
bro. Just be
All right,
real.
well, can we, besides your your very passive aggressive insults, can you
Be
actually
real.
get to the meat and potatoes here?
Yes, be real.
Okay. Do you understand that neoliberalism is a thing? Colloquially understood.
Sure.
by-
What the
by
West
people.
is right now, I guess, people that
It's
believe in
predicated
mixed
on debt.
economies.
It's predicated on finance capital, the global tyranny of finance capital. That is neoliberalism, correct?
Sure.
You say
I
sure,
guess
like that's not
finance
real.
capital. I'm sure that that's going to be nowhere found in any of the dictionary explanations of what neoliberal. In fact, I'm going to Google it right now. Let's see if we can find finance capital in the fucking any of the definitions for neoliberalism. Let's go. I'm sure it's nowhere to be fucking found. Deregulating capital markets, lowering trade barriers, and reducing, especially through privatization and austerity, state influence in the economy. Literally, nowhere in there is finance capital.
Yeah, it's because you don't understand the relationship between finance capital and
You're
the actual
overcomplicating
global
words
political
because you're an
economy.
insecure, silly, brain-rotted person.
You're talking about market orientation. What market orientation? Who dictates the market? It's the banks. That is who controls the state in the West. Specifically, the impetus for military adventurism is purely financial. Do you disagree with this?
Dude, go do some spoken word at the fucking local cafe. I don't need you up here trying to sound smart. You sound extremely dumb. Hello?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
Yeah, that last dude, man, you didn't understand anything that he said?
I understand everything, most of what he said, but he was using bigger words than he needed to and saying
Well, I get that
everything
much,
and
but-
nothing. Everything and
I get
nothing.
that.
He went all over the place. He didn't say anything
But-
that meant
but
anything.
everything that he said was spot on and very accurate. Doesn't
Scott,
matter what
Scott,
words he was
reiterate
saying,
reiterate one thing he said. Go ahead.
Well, about the world banks, for one, they control everything. They are the ones that get us involved in wars. And we're not just talking about who
He
we
did
owe
use
our
the
money
words
to.
World Bank,
Are-
but go ahead. Like, what else was he saying about that?
Well, he didn't use the word. He said finance capitalism. Well, this whole I didn't really get the whole new liberal concept I mean,
Okay.
liberalism
So
hasn't
so
changed.
basically, you took away nothing from that.
Well, yeah, but I'm not as smart as that guy.
Okay. No,
I'm an idiot.
everybody is
I'm
smarter
a
than that
plumber
guy.
for a living. You know, I don't have a YouTube or I don't have a TikTok broadcast, and I don't have things like that. I'm a 50-year-old who has a plumbing
Okay.
business.
So
You know, and I know that right now, hey, as being a Trump supporter is good. I'm looking to actually get my restrictions eased and some of my tax burdens limited.
okay. Do you
As
make
a
over
small business owner.
$360,000?
What's that?
Do you make over
Sure,
360?
absolutely.
You make over
You know what? It's not just for
$360,000
that.
per year?
If you take out money out of your 401k or out of your, I just cashed out an annuity last year, and out of that annuity, $220,000, I had to pay 60% or $60,000 of that in taxes.
You
If it
you
would've
make over
happened this year-
360K per year. Your business does.
Yeah, oh yeah, easily. My business, it clears that.
Okay.
every
What about
year.
individually?
It's my business. I'm an employee of my own corporation.
Yeah. So when you pay
Like
yourself,
most people
what do you make over 360,000?
You what? Yeah, but I'm fully invested in my business. I live my business. Yes, I make over 360,000. I mean, there's a lot
Okay.
of years where I make. Yes.
Okay.
Of course, I have to itemize
and
and write everything off.
and what do you think your business is going to see more or less business now that Trump has tanked the economy and people have far less money?
The economy is not tanking. I'm a plumber. I've never been busier. It's like printing cash.
Okay, no.
I mean,
Tomorrow the tariffs go into effect. Where do you
Okay,
think
doesn't
where do you
affect
think the tools and the raw
I know
materials you use for
exactly.
Hey, you need to
I know
calm
where
down.
they come from. All
Wait,
that
you need
gets
to
passed
you need to
off.
calm down, bub.
I'm sorry. I get it fired up about things like this. All this gets passed off to my customers, just like the supply houses charge me more. Doesn't matter. I never even really look at my invoices. I know what I'm paying for
Okay.
copper and pipe, for certain things.
So-
I know what my monthly.
So you
I know what these
understand
things are.
you understand that people your customers will have less money to spend with you and will be looking at higher estimates from you
That's
because
a
of
good thing
these
about being a
tariffs.
plumber. It's a good thing about being a plumber. It's a good thing about being in my buddies in HVAC or electricians. It's good to be all of us. We
No,
made
that's
a
not
good
true.
decision about 20 years ago.
Most people in your industry and at your size of business are going to suffer the most.
Well, I haven't felt it yet. You know what? I'll come back on your live here, and I'll admit when you're or I'll tell you when you were right.
We're gonna
But right
have
now,
we're gonna have a
I see some of
recession.
your policies. What?
We're gonna have a recession. We're expected to see a negative 4% shrinkage
There
GDP.
has to- you know what? I've lived through recessions now, and sometimes coming out of the recessions usually are the best times.
We just got out of
setting myself
one.
up for preparation.
We just got out of one
What's that?
5 years ago.
2008.
We just got out of one 5
was
years
the real
ago.
last recession that I remember.
Okay.
And really, recessions are kind of. I remember coming out of them. They're a bitch to go through. Don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to go through a recession, but when you go through it and you come out of it. Last one I went through, I had 3 kids. I was coming out of a rental house that went bad. Ended up losing that house to foreclosure. Ended up buying another house. But coming through the recession now, that's where I set up the business. Money was easy.
But
to
we're gonna
borrow
be
then.
okay. But these recessions are induced by tariffs, and we're gonna see money moving a lot slower as long as these tariffs stay up. This isn't gonna be temporary. It's gonna be long
Now,
term.
I don't believe it unless I can see it or taste it or feel it. It doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, are you
I
Christian?
keep things relative. Huh?
Are you Christian?
What's that?
Are you Christian?
I go to church. It's that time of year, so I'll start going to church for
All
my
right.
kids. It's Easter, so I'm a part-time Christian. Christmas and Easter kind of Christian. Other than that, I spend my money in the bars if I need to, just to stimulate the economy. I've got a family, kids. All my kids are grown up. This is I know when it happens to me if it affects me. Other than that, I don't try to get involved with what tariffs are going to cause for me. If it's going to be
You're gonna see a huge decline in business. I promise. And in every way, where people are getting their bathrooms redone or their kitchen sink moved, you are gonna see far much less of that, especially with those people or business owners.
I hope so. I cannot wait until there's a cutback or pullback in business. I can't stand it right now. I mean, if I could put 5 guys to work, I can't find anybody to employ. because anybody that you employ will eventually strike out on their own. You know, finding people
Doesn't it
to
take
employ
multiple
and then
years to
having
become
regulations
a
to pay for 'em.
journeyman?
What's that?
Doesn't it take multiple years to become a journeyman?
Yeah, it takes you 5 years or so. And it takes you 20 years to be a real competent business owner and tradesman. I mean, it's taken me at least that. It's taken me 35 years of my life to get into this. And it's not something I wanted to do, but boy,
So you don't
I'm
really
glad
have that
people
high of
told me to
turnover
go
then,
into
right?
this. What's that?
So your turnover is
because
not really
I
that
don't
long.
want to have. It's employing people is a pain in the ass. It's not fun. When you gotta file your.
All right.
have
Not everybody has the
filings
same
withholdings
sentiment.
and
I know. Okay. This is very selfish of you to say, but like, not everybody has the same sentiment. Everybody else wants to do more business. Everybody else, we all want to see
Yeah.
more
I got a
movement in the economy.
Yeah, I got a couple guys, and I'm happy with that. You know, I feel I try to get my kids raised, and that's
I know
it.
this
I
is
don't
a
care
cult.
about what's going on.
You guys, if
internationally.
Biden was in office and he did this, he implemented tariffs that cut the economy at its knees, you guys would be like asking for his head on a pike. So this is
No, I don't
extremely
know if I
double
would or
standard of
not.
you.
No. You got. I'm kind of a. I'm not typical. I don't really care who's in charge. You know, if Biden's in charge and I don't feel it. You know, I don't get involved with what's going on, and I don't believe when anybody's crying that the sky is falling. You know, until I go outside and the sky falls on my head, it didn't happen to me. You know, so
So you have to see
I don't
it
believe
to
it.
believe it.
I don't
You have
believe it.
to-
I don't
you have
believe
to
what's
feel it.
told me.
You have to
What was
feel it
that?
before you have to feel it impact you before you care.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I gotta feel it before I really care. I mean.
Yeah, are you
that's
the
exactly
same?
right.
Are you the same? Did you vote for Trump because of the 10 trans people that were playing in women's sports?
No, I like it because he pisses off a lot of people. That's what I like. I like the humor of it. It is kind of funny, like a
Well,
comedy almost.
this is not a game anymore. Like, he's pissing off
And
entire
you guys-
countries.
Plus, it gets you guys talking about something. You know, I know it's kind of boring having Biden around sleeping all the time. I mean,
He was the
never had
most
press
productive.
conferences.
He was the
really
most
didn't
productive
get
president
involved.
ever.
Oh boy, that's probably you're right. That's probably how
Hey
it is.
Scott, you
because
said you've been around for a while and you've seen a lot of recessions. Hey man, do you remember what it was
well,
like?
it's
in
not a
the
lot. I
80s?
said I've been
Yeah,
through three of
do
them.
you remember what it was like in the 80s and 90s when politics was boring?
No, fuck. No, I'm only 50. I mean, I was 5 in 1980,
you're
so I don't remember
you're
that.
4 years older than me. You're 4 years older than me. I remember what it was like in the 1980s and 90s.
It was a blast, wasn't it?
Yeah, the politics was boring as shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
because you
and
had
now you're rooting for
Tip
the guy
O'Neill
just
and-
because he pisses people off. That's really weird.
But,
Hey man, I just wanted to get back to this. Like, you don't care unless it actually affects you. Aren't you part of the America First?
Yeah, I guess. I am America first. You know, I will. I'm not. I believe in my state first. I'm from South Dakota, and I love it here, and I'll protect this state to the end. You know,
Great.
I think.
Americans first, right?
Yeah, Americans first.
So why are you actively advocating for Americans to hurt?
Well, I don't know if they're gonna hurt. I think tariffs.
You understand
Trump has been-
recessions cause people to hurt, right?
Hey, have we hit a recession yet?
We're
haven't even
looking
seen-
at it. We're looking
Well,
at
there's
one,
gonna,
yeah, 100%.
like I said, there's gonna be some pullbacks. Hey, you could not have 7% interest on 30-year mortgages. You can't. It's not gonna work. And it pushed up 3%. As soon as you do that with interest rates, I can't buy a house. That adds like
Dog,
$1,000 a month.
Trump's actions have led to fewer interest rate cuts projected to happen this year. That's Trump's doing
No,
now.
Trump's. Well, what happens with printing money and too much money in the system is then, yeah.
I
absolutely.
agree.
More money.
And who printed more money, Trump or Biden?
Oh, I probably. Since you're asking me the question, I bet Trump.
Yeah, Trump by a factor of like 4.
See, now printing money to go to tax cuts and printing money to go back into the government are two different things, though.
And you
If
know
print
what?
money, because when you guys always like to say that, oh, you're printing money. Well, it's because Biden was going to put it back into the government, and Trump pays for tax breaks. And
Okay.
you say rich people. Well, rich people can be people that are buying a farm, selling a farm, business owners that are selling it to their son. You know, kids that are
Rich
buying
people
their
hoard the
damn
cash.
farm.
That is the opposite of the truth. So when rich people have
Rich
all the
people-
money and there's
well,
a
I don't
few,
like that class
hey,
warfare
calm down,
thing, though.
calm down. When
Yeah.
there's like 1,000 people that are keeping all of the money rather than like in the money being in the hands of everybody else, I think it's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot worse. Like, so I think it's the complete opposite of what you're about to say.
Well, but before you start talking about rich people and tax breaks, you'll find yourself on that side of on that side eventually. All of a sudden, you'll want to cash out your annuity or maybe some 401k money, and say it's a couple hundred.
I'm sure I'll be just fine, and I'm sure I'll be thirsty for another 10K
No,
or
but it's
something
gonna
when I'm
piss
doing
you
really
off.
good. I don't care.
It's gonna piss
I
you
don't
off.
care. For me being pissed off. You guys have learned to be so upset and hate poor people so much. But when we actually look at the health of the economy and how dependent it is on the healthy circulation of cash, there's no denying that putting money into the government and having it fuel things like creating jobs is much better than a few rich people being able to buy an extra Bugatti.
Oh, I disagree with you 100%. I disagree with you 100%. You give tax breaks to business owners from all over. If I could get to the point to where regulations or my unemployment insurance was easy, more maintainable, things like that. Once they become easier, I'll put another few guys on.
No, you just told me a whole story how you don't want extra and you don't want more guys. Don't even try, dude. You're double speaking, bro. You're double speaking.
Well, it's harder to have guys. I found it's better to have the few guys that I got.
All right.
The few guys I got, I stick with.
Yeah, exactly.
If I get a big enough project,
And you know
I
what?
might get some.
And you know what? And you guys still haven't figured out that whole thing is a lie. That tax breaks allows people to hire more people, because if you hire people, that already contributes to the making your tax liability smaller. So don't even try.
Pull that back a little bit. Tax breaks are not going to help me to hire somebody.
Exactly.
Me landing more projects are going to.
Yeah, and when the
Give me to hire
economy's
somebody.
when the economy does better, you land more projects, which is the opposite of what's happening, and you're trying to justify it.
Well, and that's not necessarily true. I mean, that's all regional. I mean, certain things are going to be
Okay,
hot.
well, the region of the United States is doing bad and is projected to do worse.
Well, you should move to South Dakota, bud. You love it. Weather's
Fuck
good,
that!
you know,
What the
and-
fuck is in South Dakota?
Well, we're growing. You know, I know, that's right. What the fuck is in South Dakota? That's right.
You guys have more
There's
cows
nothing
than
to
you
see
have
here.
people.
Hey, man, I'll let you go. It's been good talking to you, though.
All right, bro.
Yeah, see ya.
He didn't like the cow slander.
South Dakota?
Fucking dude, South Dakota is dangerous to live in. Like I heard, okay, I had a friend of mine. He went outside. He lost his hat. Right? He stepped outside the door. He lost his fucking hat. It flew off of his head because there was a storm. There was a goddamn blizzard. And he said, "It's gone now. I can't go get it." I said, "What do you mean it's gone?" He's like, "Dude, I can't go out there because if I'm out there for longer than 3 minutes, I die.
Oh
it's
my
not
God.
worth going to get." That was South Dakota.
Look at how
Imagine
much
that.
South
Imagine
Dakota
that
relies on
motherfucker
federal
running.
funding. I can imagine. Hello, Chad. Chad, are you there?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake.
Oh, you're good. Chad, if you're in the box and you're friendly, hop out of the box. We're doing debates only. Guys, if you're a Trump supporter and you want to support the stream, support the stream. If you want to debate and tell me why you like Trump, hop in the box. And Savage Mom, thank you so much for the gifted. Guys, we are 9 subs away from hitting our goal of 561 subs. Chat, before the TikTok ban, we were at 1,200 subscribers. I would like to see that happen again one day.
Yeah, we got to get those subs back up there. Also, if you're not following Pickles or myself, there's 1,400 people in there. I am so close to 10,000 followers. It's not even funny.
Ooh.
You guys got to follow us. Follow us, subscribe to the channel for sure, and at least give them the heart me. You can do the daily heart me's and all that fun stuff.
Hello?
That's cool. 10,000. Thanks, AJ.
Tilly, are you there? In the fiscal year of 2022, South Dakota's government revenues were 35% reliable on federal transfers. Oh my God. South Dakota's a fucking welfare queen, baby.
Which one is it? Is it North Dakota? One of them actually. One of the Dakotas, I thought, actually puts more into the federal coffer than they take out.
Oh my God, South Dakota's pathetic excuse for a state. I bet they argue for tax breaks too. We need smaller government, bitch. 35% of your state is funded by the federal government. I bet all of their politicians still tout
Because all the ranchers
tax
up there, man.
breaks. Oh my
They got a ton of
God.
ranchers up there. They get federal subsidies for the beef.
South Dakota's a state? Someone in chat.
It's just South Canada, essentially. That's all South Dakota is.
North Dakota's going bankrupt.
South and North Dakota, South Canada.
Was it North Dakota or was it Nebraska or something going bankrupt?
Oh, hold on.
Chat, we're at 1,500 viewers and not a single Trump supporter wants to come tell me why they like Trump. Is it that bad? Is that hard to defend these days?
So, have you heard they're thinking about dropping drones in Mexico, man?
Saw that.
Trump is weighing the options.
Saw that.
Then
yeah.
Claudia Scheinbaum came back and she disputed it. She's like, that's not going to happen.
Well, she says, yeah, they won't. They don't like the idea or whatever. Yeah. Guys, if you want to debate and you're on YouTube, hop into my TikTok. There's a link that my bot on YouTube is spamming. If you want to hop in my TikTok, that's how I bring people up to debate. They won't take this lightly. Yeah, like it's been real hard to find a Trump supporter that is willing to try to defend their position these days. You should be glad the stock market's down because you can buy a few stocks.
Gives us an opportunity. Yeah, it gives us an opportunity to buy.
You can buy $100 worth of stocks and get $15.
No, 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 no.
Hello.
I was gonna trade in my Trump coins and buy some stock now that it's low.
Never seen a Democrat in my life lose a debate. I don't remember losing too many debates in the since October. I haven't really lost too many, I don't think. Hello?
How's it going, bud?
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
Yes, sir.
Are you on speaker? It's real hard to hear you.
Yeah, I am. I'm driving.
Yeah. Yeah. Yellow?
Hello?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Tic Tac, do you want to cover the news while I make a bathroom break?
I will. I'm on the wrong device though to do that. Can I jump over to my other device?
Yeah. Can you let yourself up?
No.
Okay, I'll wait. Go ahead. Chat, follow the stream if you enjoy these debates. I do debate daily. Hello?
better now?
There's a lot of like wind or background noise.
What about now?
It's a little better. Can you bring me closer?
That should be better now.
All right. What do you like about Trump?
Well, I mean, he's made some good decisions and some bad, but I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about tariffs? Are you talking about economy? What? I didn't even read the live. All I said is Trump sucks, so I decided to fucking jump in. We'll see.
Yeah. What do you think about Trump's tariffs?
Well, I think he dropped the economy, or the economy's dropping now that the tariffs started, and you know the tariffs have started dropping. You know, all of everybody's investments. So I think it's gonna start to be a boom after. Here after a month with the tariffs coming in. I mean, we've had some of them accept, some of them deny, and that's his place to go back and forth with them about the tariffs. And that's not my problem. But with, everybody's investments going down, I mean, obviously you can buy more, and it's going to keep going down. Once the tariffs kick in, I mean, I'm sure it's going to go back up, but at this time, everybody's going to be able to buy a lot more.
What? Is that literally Boomhauer?
Rough, man.
Was that?
Nah, that was rough.
That was literally Boomhauer, chat. That was real life Boomhauer. Hello? Alright, yeah, okay. Bang hole, man.
Holy smokes, this is kind of rough today. All right, let's get some news. Gee, many Christmas. So, we've had a lot happen today. It's going to be kind of rough. AP has won reinstatement into the White House. So we all know that Donald Trump has banned certain news outlets from the White House and then appointed other news outlets like Newsmax and Breitbart. The Associated Press took them to court, and after I guess it's been 2 months now, the judge finally ruled that the government cannot bar journalists from the White House, which is a win. We all know that's actually one of the tenets of fascism, is attacking the Lugan press, the lying news, as the fake news, as Donald Trump likes to call it. So this was a win for the left, at least. Trump rolled out more sweeping tariffs today. More federal jobs are to be cut. We're looking at fudge. He's got 1,600 jobs just in Ohio alone. No, I'm sorry. Licking County, Ohio will now lose roughly 1,000 jobs and $150 million per year in revenue for the local economy. 400 to 600 construction jobs and 540 permanent jobs were expected to be created at a full operation of 3 new data centers. This is in Ohio. Because of Trump's tariffs, now Microsoft has canceled over $1 billion in projects to build 3 new data centers. Excuse me. They did say after all of this, though, after abandoning the project to build these new data centers, they're going to consider shifting they're going to do it for future projects towards like farming. So they're going to keep the land, but they're going to use it for farming to help the communities instead. Win for Microsoft, I guess. So they're pulling back. They're not saying they're going to do this forever. They're just until the economy is actually looking better. Microsoft is actually canceling a bunch of projects. So, yay, Trump. What's going on? Who's this?
I just came up because I didn't want to hear all the fake news. Where are you getting all the fake news from?
Oh, I can give you the. Which one? Did you want the Associated Press?
The Associated Press is to do with the Oval Office only. You making it seem like he's controlling the whole press and nobody can get in the White House. Why you do that?
No, I said he
kicking
reinstated
out
to the White House events.
like do
Yeah,
you know
that's exactly what I said.
You
you
cannot
know
be disrespectful to the president, people.
you
You know?
absolutely can. That's free
Oh, you,
speech.
yeah, well, okay, but you're gonna do that once. You're never gonna come back to the same room with me.
Okay, but that's
As
against
a
free speech, isn't
press,
it?
you still have to respect not the president, the presidency,
Did
the White House, the
Joe
Oval
Biden did Joe Biden kick Fox News out of the Oval Office when they called him dementia ridden and called him names for 4 years?
He did. He actually did worse. He never gave them the opportunity to answer a single freaking question.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, the White House press secretary also let them ask questions every single time there was a press event.
Yeah, right.
They did.
She loved Peter Doocy, right? Remember?
Yeah, Peter Doocy got to ask questions no matter how much of a
Peter
fucking
Doocy
troll he
did all the
was.
time.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he was
all the time.
respectful.
He was not
I was trying to think
respectful.
of his first
You have
name.
to be respectful. You cannot disrespect
No,
the
he
presidency.
gave horribly imbalanced questions all the time, and she put up with his shenanigans
Bro,
all
you
the time.
guys, I listen. I got a question for you, bro. Where is the Democratic Party going with all this stuff? You know it didn't work last time. You think it's gonna work?
You
3 years from
guys,
now?
you guys won an election by 1.7%, and you're going to give us some sort of moral
you are holding
grandstanding.
up
Excuse
on
me,
something?
excuse me. You guys are giving me some sort of moral
You know how
grandstanding.
many people have
Excuse
left the
me.
Democratic Party by now?
Excuse me, 1.7%. You guys won by 1.7%.
You know
This
how
is not a.
many people are leaving the Democratic Party because you guys don't want to change and you want to continue with your radical freaking points down there. I don't know where you're going.
Patrimonio.
That's my
Patrimonio.
question.
Let's address that. Did you know that our party, the Liberal Party of the United States, is literally the conservative party of the more developed world? Did you know that?
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. You
Yes,
guys
it
have too
is.
many radical
Do we have
ideas.
do we have
You guys,
socialized healthcare here
you
yet?
guys, listen, you guys. Okay, who is your leader right now? Who is the leader?
We don't need a leader. We have
Who is
ideas.
saying all this? Who is saying these things that you guys are saying out here on TikTok?
Nobody.
Who
We're
is
not
the
a cult.
person that right
We're not a
now?
cult. We are a free-thinking body of people.
Who is the person that I can go on TV right now and watch? Like, give me
Why
a
do
name
we
of a
why do we need to be a
of a
cult?
congressman. Give me a name of a
Why
senator.
why do we need to be a cult?
Who you got?
Why do we need to be a cult?
You don't, but you need to have a direction. You need to have a leader.
No, we don't.
You need to have good ideas. Which are the good ideas? I don't hear the Democrats up there talking about no good ideas. Trump, do you see what Trump did today? And do you see what
All right,
Trump did today?
Patrimonio, you guys have no actual. You guys have no. You guys have no actual policy. Like you guys just attack trans people.
You know what the American people are watching, bro? You Democrats going against your own country. You fucking crazy, bro.
Dude,
going
you're the
against
one.
your own country.
Dude, you're the one with an accent talking about voting for somebody who's kicking people that phenotypically look like you.
Now you're trying to talk about my accent and like.
Bro doesn't know how to take turns. People who look like you are in danger right now, and we're the only one out here. We're the only side out here pressing the president to give you guys due process, so you guys don't get sent to one of the worst prisons in the world based on tattoos and your accent.
Speaking of which, did you see that interview where Trump was on the plane and he actually said that? He said they're trying to find avenues. And then on top of that, Caroline Levitt, she also confirmed that the administration is taking steps to a pathway to deport American citizens to El Salvador.
Yeah.
They're literally just trying. He said, we have really bad criminals in our prisons. What would be wrong with sending them over there? That's how he wants to send our prisoners to El Salvador, because they're not covered underneath the Constitution, and they're allowed to be tortured there. You see.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you a Trump supporter?
I voted for Trump.
Okay, what do you like about Trump?
What's not to like about him?
He's a fascist.
Did you hear what I just said?
I mean, they're illegals. They need to get gone. He didn't send no one as a citizen that was born
People,
here.
American citizens. He wants to send American citizens who are in prison to El Salvador so they can be tortured.
A lot of people in prison, unalived people. So hey.
So you're okay with that then? You're okay with that?
I don't think he needs to do that. I don't think he will do that.
Okay, well, that's what he wants to do. Carolyn Levitt just confirmed that that's what his administration wants to do.
I think that's just fear mongering. I'm not in prison. I don't commit crimes, so I'm not really.
Do you know who Carolyn Levitt is?
No, I don't really know.
She's the press secretary for Donald Trump. She's the one that goes out and says, "Hey, this is what his administration is doing" to the press, and then the press reports on that.
Okay.
Okay, so his press secretary said, hey, this is what his administration wants to do. He wants to take American citizens who are in prison and send them to El Salvador.
Wait,
because they're not covered by the Constitution there.
And you're also talking about people who are illegal. Well, the person who he sent to these prisons, at least I think 10 now, were literally legally here, and they were sent there by accident.
Okay. But my point my point is like, I'm not gonna defend a criminal. Once you cross our border illegally, you're a criminal. Once you go to jail and be convicted and go to jail and imprisoned, you're a criminal.
Okay, but these people weren't criminals that he sent to this prison, so you don't want to fight for them?
Why would I fight for them?
Because they're here legally. The people you said that come here illegally is who you have beef with, but these people came here legally.
I don't beef with them. I just don't care about them.
Okay, but okay, do you care about the people who are here legally?
Yes, I care about Americans.
No. Like the 500,000 people that he just reversed status on so that he can deport them to, like people from Ukraine, the country that's being run over by Russia, they're going to send Ukrainians back to Ukraine. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes, because they numbers are depleted in their army. They need it. They go defend their land.
You're sending people back to die?
Oh, well. They have a chance of living.
Do you see how like you guys don't really,
so they have a chance of
you don't
living.
really have like a stance here. You're just defending what Trump is doing.
I voted for him. I don't really have to defend what he is doing. He's the president.
You absolutely
I'm
are.
a citizen. As long as I follow the laws, I'm all right.
Yeah, sure.
Joe
But
Biden
these
was-
people are following the law and he's still punishing them.
One thing I can say about the supposedly illegals, one thing I can say that was probably wasn't the best idea. It wasn't a good idea. I'm be honest. Don't like picking up college students. Like, come on, man. Like that's a little far, but
Yeah,
other
people
than
here
that,
legally in
yeah,
college,
people here legally, they deserve
like I
it,
just
but-
mentioned.
Yeah,
What if he sent one of those people to that
they
prison in
deserve
El
to stay-
Salvador?
they deserve to stay here. Like I wouldn't be against. Like I'm against what he did to the legals here, some of them. But the thing is, I have to be real with myself. If you're gonna be so hateful of America, why the hell are you here?
Who's being hateful of America? We can criticize the president
These
if he's
people have
doing horrible
connections
things.
they have connections in countries that are opposing us, saying D to America, and then they're protesting.
You're
our
likening them to
government.
all these people that you don't like just to justify
Look,
his actions.
Yeah, free Palestine. Yeah, do that, but don't come on our campuses doing that. Our campuses are for
What happened to
education,
freedom
not
of
for
speech?
traitors.
What about freedom of
If you're
speech?
look, listen, they're not even citizens. They're here legally, but you're not.
It doesn't matter. Every person here on U.S. soil, listen to me. Every person here on U.S. soil has constitutional rights, including the First Amendment. They can say whatever they want without fear of the federal government fucking with them. I think that's very important.
We all know there's loopholes, man. They're not citizens, bro.
No, it doesn't matter if they're citizens. What makes you think that matters at all?
They don't come here if you hate America and you're gonna protest on our campuses.
Dude,
We're gonna
it's not that
deport
they
you.
hate America. It's that they care about
They
their
hate
people
America.
dying in Palestine. What's wrong with that?
It's not our fault that it's not like me. I don't agree with what they're doing over there. But the thing is, I'm in America, bro. I'm not gonna give up my
Can you
spot.
protest
I'm not
America?
gonna.
Can you
I'm not gonna.
can you protest
Yeah,
America though?
I could go get a permit to protest, but I'm not gonna give up my spot
Okay,
for
that's
an
what they did.
illegal. Like
That's
I'm
what
not
they
gonna do
did.
that.
Do
Stop,
why do
stop
you
making that
believe?
comparison.
And
These are
then
Americans protesting.
also like on the flip side, let's say I move to
Cheryl, thank you for $25. Thank you so much. That was for the kick, guys. These Trump supporters will come up here and defend the right to have a pew pew, so that they can fight against a tyrannical government. But God forbid you have something negative to say about them, then you're allowed to be locked up. Fucking make it make sense.
Once again, guys, follow the stream. 1,300 people in here. Follow Pickles. Follow me too. Little self-promotion there.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. By the way, chat, freedom of speech is protection from the government to do what you want, to say what you want. Me being able to kick people is my freedom of speech. And the government coming after me for doing that would be against my freedom of speech. Do you get it? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you a Trump supporter?
I mean, I'm a Republican. I wouldn't go. I'm diehard, but yeah, I like some of what he's doing.
Okay, what do you like?
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: like, I see a lot of different people through work. I go and I'm in sales. I go to people's homes, and I see how a lot of individuals live. And there's a lot of people who I think live in very decrepit situations just because they don't have the knowledge. Going through and having people come in a proper way. Look, I'm not saying that we should deport just each and everybody. I mean, obviously, if you're here on a visa or you're here and you're, a student and you haven't done anything wrong, okay. But if you've committed crimes, even if you're on a visa, instead of imprisoning you here, I mean, send them back. I mean, I feel like it's more fair than putting them in prison.
I agree, but
time,
they should get due
not-
process, I think, and that was something Trump wasn't doing.
But here's my question. So with you saying that everybody gets, free speech and all these different rights just because you're in the country, they're here on a visa and they don't have, the citizenship, right? They're here on a visa.
You don't need
So why
citizenship.
would we put them in a jail that's ours versus giving them back to their home country? Because then, we're imprisoning somebody else's citizen.
Okay, it still doesn't matter. Wherever you send them after the trial is fine, I guess, right? We do expel people from the country if they break the law and they're not here legally or if they're on a visa. We do that already. That's
So you
fine.
just want 'em to
But they
be
need to have a
accountable.
due process. They need to see a judge and be able to defend themselves. Some of these people, 75% of the people they sent to CCOT, one of the world's worst prisons, had no criminal history whatsoever in the United States. Make that make sense.
So as long as you're saying basically as long as they get a due process, they get their day in court, if it's seen that they should still be deported, you're okay with that?
Sure.
Okay. I feel like that's
That's
definitely
our only argument. That's the difference between deportation and mass deportation.
But mass deportation, I mean, can still go through all the judges and courtrooms and still have the same
No, by definition, it's mass deportation without due process.
without due
Or
process.
deportation.
Doesn't mean that we
I'm sorry,
can't do
deportation
mass-
without due process.
Right, but that doesn't mean we can't do mass deportations with due process and have every judge that we
That
can
would
get
just
on
be
it.
deportation. That would just be deportation.
But it's not a mass
It
deportation.
has a
given
it
the
has a
extreme
different name.
amount of
It has a
individuals.
different name. It has a different name for a reason. One of them allows due process, and the other one doesn't. It's very similar to what other countries done in the past. Mass deportation doesn't allow for asylum seekers, visa holders, green card holders, immigrants, migrant workers. It just rounds everybody up, sends them away. It does
So
not
who's that
go
safer
by
for?
individual cases. What do you mean?
Who would that be safer for if we don't know the individuals that are even in here? Mass deportation on visas. I honestly did not know that they could deport you even if you had a visa without issue.
So is your premise now that immigrants are dangerous?
I mean, definitely some. I mean,
And
look
that
what
we need to
happened
do this?
in
Oh, okay,
Colorado
okay.
in the Aurora
That's-
Carpet.
So you're changing the premise then. You're changing the premise.
They are inherently less
Just making
dangerous than us, and if the whole country were flooded and doubled in size by nothing but illegal migrants, the country's crime rates would drop to 1/3.
I mean,
Literally,
their crime
deported
rates,
MAGA
depending on
would
where
have
they're
less
at,
crime.
dropped once they came here. Look at Venezuela.
Yeah, poverty causes crime. That's why.
I disagree. There's plenty of poor countries that don't have tremendous amounts of crime.
Name one.
Or poor parts of the country. I mean, look at like different redneckvilles, man. They're all over the country.
All of the red
Small
states are
towns.
more violent and have more violent crime than blue states. All the poor red states are more criminal and violent than blue states.
What are those crimes?
Murder.
Typically
Okay.
assaults, essays,
Got it.
shootings. Yeah.
Right. Out of what percentage of the population?
It's all done by capita, per capita.
Okay. So can you rattle me off some ratios?
Okay,
Understanding,
Memphis,
for
Tennessee, the
example,
most
if
dangerous
we're just gonna
city.
go over statistics. Like you have more violent crime coming out of a portion of our population than any other. You know, you're talking about individuals per area, per capita, when you have to look at the amount of crime done, period. And you're looking
Yes,
at these little...
if you look at crime done by volume, it's a silly way to do it because eventually,
Right,
so
but
like
what's the
a room with 10
right?
people.
It's crime by
Excuse
population.
me. A room with 10 people that has 1 murder is more dangerous than a room of 100 people that has 2 murders. You get what
But
I'm
if you
saying?
make up more of the population or less, then you have to go for the percentage of population that's committing said crime.
Always go
So
per
it's like using...
What's per
like,
capita,
if-
bro? Hey, stop. What's per capita?
You tell me.
You have to know what per capita is to have this argument.
So, again, population per capita, using different ratios in order to justify this. Many people think this.
Okay, what's per
all right?
capita mean? You said words. What do those mean? What does per
Honestly,
capita
I do
mean?
not know the exact definition, so
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you.
It's
That's
per
why I said
100,000 people. So how many of
per
these
100,000
incidents
people.
happen per
Right,
100,000
right,
people?
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
metric.
You need to use the metric of race when you're talking about deportation, because they're not deporting majority of a Caucasian race, right? When you're looking at what they're deporting and the crimes that are being committed, you have to look at it on that aspect of the American citizens that are that same thing versus who's coming in, because all of these different things are being based off of the 100,000 people, not the 100,000 people and who they are.
Okay,
and where
I
they're
think what you just said is completely incoherent. Here's the bottom line. The last year, 29 murders happened from undocumented migrants. 29, and 17,000 happened by U.S. citizens. And that does
But
not...
what is the percentage of population? They're
2% of our population, and 29 is not 2% of 17,000. So end of story. They are far more safe to be around than you or I.
I would say most of them have better culture and more family values, but there's a ton of them that are still more dangerous that are coming in than our own citizens.
It's not
when
true.
you're talking about dangerous, what are you talking
saying
about?
that. Can you
Regular
show us
basic
that?
crime?
There's no data
can you
that
show us
proves
that?
what you're saying. All you can do is look at like one
So
person.
there's no data that proves what I'm saying.
Exactly. There's no data that proves what you're
Exactly.
saying.
You can literally look at these statistics per who that person is and where they're coming from, what is going on there. I mean, that's like, it's almost like saying consanguineous marriage doesn't exist.
I don't
But
know what you're
that's
saying,
a whole
dude.
nother conversation.
Literally, there's no actual symptoms of these people coming here that are bad. All you guys can look at is 1 or 2 incidents that they play
But
on
when
repeat in the
when you have
news.
people talking about keeping them here, what are they typically talking about in the news?